Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you my WWE Raw review for October 19th, 2015. and I already saw the show, but I didn't get a chance to review it, so I'm going to watch the show again, and as it goes to commercial, I'm going to pause it and give my thoughts on it, because I DVR'd the show like I normally do. Um, so I hope you guys enjoy that. And, yeah, this was a good Raw anyways, but, it had, the advertised people that were going to be there were Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Undertaker, and Brock Lesnar because they had to build up their Hell in a Cell match. So let's see how, so I already know how this Raw turned out, but let's go through it thoroughly. Okay, so we get JBL, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton on commentary for this show. And Raw just kicks right off with the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was great. We hadn't seen him in a WWE win since WrestleMania 30, so it's been a while. And they said that it's been like 5 years since he been on Raw, so that was cool. Because they're in Dallas, Texas, by the way. That's why all these, except for Ric Flair, but that's why all these stars are here. And he cuts a great promo. Talks about how he's happy to be back and talked about how he started his wrestling career here. But it wasn't like a long promo. He just kind of talks about it quickly. And then he says, if you're ready, if you're psyched for Monday Night Raw, give me a hell yeah. Then he says, if you're psyched for WrestleMania 32, which is in Texas, which I'm going to WrestleMania 32. It says, if you're psyched for WrestleMania 32, give me a hell yeah. And then he says, okay, enough of that BS. And then he plugs his podcast that happened last night with Brock Lesnar. He plugged that, which is on the network, which I will watch, and I'm going to be reviewing that on my Wrestling Fortune 44 channel, so if you want to check that out, you can click right up here. And then he introduces The Undertaker, and then afterwards Austin was out of there. I thought that was fine usage of Stone Cold Steve Austin, to have him come out there and get a nice hometown reaction, and then just have him come in, say what he needed to say, and be gone. That's all that needed to happen. But then Undertaker comes out, and he talks about how this Sunday, when he faces Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell, that the gateways to hell is going to feel like the gateways to heaven after the damage that he does to him. And then he says that he's going to make him rest in peace. And then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out, and Paul Heyman says, ladies and dead man, which was great. And he says that he has and he says, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate for the guy that's going to be unleashed inside Hell in a Cell, Brock Lesnar. And he says that he finds it funny because they're both Undertaker and Brock Lesnar are coming in this match with the thought of vengeance on their mind. Brock Lesnar because of that BS victory that Undertaker got at SummerSlam. And then Undertaker, after Brock Lesnar conquering the streak, Undertaker doesn't just need nor want revenge, he lusts revenge. And he says that Brock Lesnar this Sunday is going to take everything from Undertaker. And then Undertaker says that you can't take anything from somebody that has nothing left to lose. So he calls out Brock Lesnar to have a fight. Brock Lesnar starts to make his way down to the ring, and Paul Heyman tries to call him off. And then Lesnar gets on the apron, but then Heyman's like calling him off, and then Lesnar leaves, and then Undertaker stands tall. I thought this was a good segment here. It wasn't too long, and it was a nice opening segment. I was surprised when I was watching the show last night that this wouldn't main event the show. But whatever. Because it's like this is the match that's selling the pay-per-view pretty much. Or special event. But what doesn't make sense to me is I think the roles should be reversed. Like, Undertaker should be the heel and Brock Lesnar should be the face. And I know no one's going to want to boo The Undertaker, so it's not going to work regardless, and everyone's going to want to boo Brock Lesnar because he has that streak. But Taker's been like the heel in this feud, if you think about it, because well, at least the most recent, in Chapter 2 of the feud is what they like to call it. Because building up to the match at SummerSlam, he cheap shotted Lesnar in the nuts, and then he had that controversial victory where he tapped out, but he didn't see it, and then behind the referee's back, he low blows the referee. If you think about it, I think Taker should be the heel and Lesnar should be the face. I think that it just makes more sense, because it doesn't make sense how Lesnar's the heel when he's been the babyface in this feud. I just don't think that makes any sense, but a good opening segment overall. Okay, the first match on the show is John Cena and the Dudley Boyz versus the New Day. A rematch from like a few weeks ago. And they announced at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that John Cena is going to have his United States Championship Open Challenge, which is really cool. I was hoping they would do that on pay-per-view. And obviously John Cena is going to lose because he's taking time off, so I have no clue who his opponent could be. I have no idea. You know, I hope it's somebody good. So we're gonna have to wait and see. I can't really think of anybody right now. But the New Day come out and they cut a promo, and Xavier Woods still has like the broken trombone, which was really funny. And they say that they've the most dominant faction ever, and they say that they've been taking out everybody, and they say they're going to take out the Dudley Boyz at Hell in a Cell for the tag titles. And they talk about how Texas, everything in Texas is booty, and they list off all these things. And then they say, then Kofi Kingston says that they're going to, that this brat, we broke this brass, and we kicked, and then Xavier Woods says, he goes to say ass, and then Xavier Woods says, Kofi, this is a PG show, and Kofi's like, who cares? Ass. So then the match starts. Good match. The New Day gets the heat on Cena for a while, and then Devon Dudley gets the hot tag. He starts going off on everybody. Well, on Xavier Woods. And then he goes to make a cover, but Big E breaks it up. And actually, another thing that they said is they said they're unicorns because they brought magic to the WWE. I forgot to mention that, which was hilarious. And then Bubba and Big E fight on the outside, and Big E throws Bubba into the steel post, and then Cena dives on Big E, and Xavier Woods rolls up Devon Dudley for a win. So a good match here, and then afterwards everybody starts fighting, and Cena hits an AA on Xavier Woods, and then the Dudley Boyz win out a table, and Bubba Wade Dudley powerbombs Xavier Woods through the table. So that's to build up the tag team title match. I'm assuming the Dudley Boyz are going to win because the New Day has so much momentum right now, but I kind of want the New Day to win because they're really getting over, and I think they should hold the tag team titles up to WrestleMania and drop it to another tag team. But at this point, if the Dudley Boyz don't win, then this was all just a waste of time, because I think if they were gonna have the Dudley Boyz stay in the contention this long and continuously to have them come this close, then they would hold up. Then then that means they're pretty much gonna put the belts on them. In my opinion, though, this match at Hell in a Cell I think should be a tables match. And if it's not a tables match, they should have Xavier Woods banned from ringside, which I know is a little bit of a stretch because then he makes the match fun. So if you can't have that, then at least it should be a tables match, because that way the New Day can't get themselves counted out or disqualified. Or they should put the stip that if the New Day does do that, then they lose the title. Something like that, because this is just the same match over again. So, something to change up the match. Okay, so next, Dean Ambrose gets interviewed. The reason why this was happening is because Randy Orton apparently didn't make the tour in Mexico because he reportedly got injured. He didn't show up for the dates, and then he wasn't on Raw tonight. So they suspect that it has something to do with the Wyatt family. And yeah, that's how it is. So now they're not even sure if Randy Orton can compete at Hell in a Cell in the tag match with Ambrose against Luke Harper and Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman, I'm sorry, I botched. I did read about this. Anyways, I heard Randy Orton was planning on taking time off as well. He's getting married. But I also heard that I read online somewhere that he got like a dislocated shoulder. And he's having like an MRI on it and all that stuff. So that's why. Because if he was gonna take time off before Hell in a Cell, they probably wouldn't have even booked this match to happen. But now it can't happen. So they do something with it later on that I'll tell you about. So Dean Ambrose gets interviewed, and he pretty much says that it is the Wyatt family. He says that the Wyatts got to him. And he said that he's sick and tired of this crap, so he challenges Braun Strowman and Luke Harper to a fight tonight. I thought it was a great promo. He said exactly what he needed to say, so thought it was great. And then we get a tag team match. It's Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox with Brie Bella ringside versus Naomi and Sasha Banks with Tamina Snuka ringside. Tamina had dyed her hair purple, which looked ridiculous. Not because it was purple, but just the way she dyed it looked ridiculous. If you saw this show, you know what I'm talking about. And this was pretty much a burial of Team Bad. They actually are trying to... Michael Cole was saying on commentary that for weeks, Team Bella's been trying to break up Team Bad when it only happened like last week. So, you know, I guess a week's like 3 weeks to WWE. But pretty much Nikki Bella just buries him because they have to make Nikki Bella look strong since he's facing Charlotte for the Divas title. And Nikki Bella wins with the rack attack. And everyone wanted Sasha Banks, and they barely even got her. She got in and hit like a few moves in the match. I thought this was all very stupid. Sasha Banks looked hot as hell out there, though. I'll say that. And then anything else? Oh, they announced that Corporate Kane suspended because of what happened with the Lumberjack match and stuff like last week. I was disappointed about that because this is possibly going to be the last week you can lose Corporate Kane, and you're not going to use him. I thought that was stupid. One, I thought that was stupid, but two, I'm also disappointed because I like Kane. I know he probably wouldn't have been the highlight tonight because of all the legends that showed up, but come on. This is the last week I'm possibly going to get Corporate Kane. And they're going to take it away. That's so stupid. Okay, next Shawn Michaels comes out, which was great. Even though you knew he was coming, but I thought it was great. And when he's coming down to the ring, he takes a kid's pizza and takes some bites out of it and eats it. I thought that was hilarious. And when he gets in the ring, he even says, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your pizza. I was starving." And he has like some stuck in his throat, so that kind of affected his promo a little bit. But pretty much he talks about how he's been trapped inside a cage and he's been trapped inside a cell, but something he's not proud of because he was young then. And he says that but it's not as demonic as being trapped inside hell in a cell. And then he plugs the 2 cell matches coming up this Sunday at the pay-per-view or the special event on the WWE Network. And then he even doesn't even remember who he wrestled the first time on the Hell in a Cell match. And he's like, okay, it was The Undertaker. So then Seth Rollins comes out and says that, Shawn, you were supposed, right when the 2-hour segment happens, you were supposed to introduce me. And then Shawn Michaels says that he, for 20 years when he's told to do something from backstage, he never does it. When he comes out here, he forgets about it. And then he says, well, this person that told you to do it was your best friend, Triple H, so if you don't want to do it, that's between you and him. But he says that he is the next Shawn Michaels, pretty much Seth Rollins says that he is the man. He is Shawn Michaels 2.0. And Shawn Michaels says that if he had a nickel for every time that he heard somebody say that, he'd be a millionaire. He says that he says that everybody's always inspired to be the next Shawn Michaels, but when he was around, he only wanted to be himself, which makes him the best wrestler in the world. And then Shawn Michaels says, enough about me. You have to worry about a demon. You have to worry about Kane this Sunday. And Seth Rollins says that Kane is going to end up like then Seth Rollins says that Shawn Michaels is jealous of him too, because he accomplished something at WrestleMania that oversees all his WrestleMania moments. But then Seth Rollins says that Kane's going to end up like all his other challengers for the title. He's going to end up flat on his back. And then he says that he's done having this conversation. He asked for his music to be played. It never gets played. And Shawn Michaels says, see, that's the difference between 2.0 and the original. If the original had asked that, they would have got his music played. But Seth Rollins tells him that he's not going anywhere because he has a match next against Ryback. And then Shawn Michaels asked for his music to be played, and they immediately play it, which I thought was great. And on the way up the ramp, he takes a sip of the kid's soda, which I thought was hilarious. So I thought this was a great segment here. Okay, so next we get Seth Rollins versus Ryback. Solid match here. They've had better matches, but this was a solid one. And during the match, Rollins throws Ryback into the steel steps. Now, the reason why I mentioned this is because I don't know if any of you guys watch the Wrestling Fortune 44 channel, which you can subscribe out there, but there's a show that I do on there called the Massasoit Wrestling Corner. That's going to be down below right here if you want to check that out. The next episode's either going to be Friday on October 23rd, 2015, or Monday, October 26th, 2015. I haven't decided yet. But, anyhow, why I'm saying this is because, Rollins throws him into the steps, and on that show, we've talked about this before, how the steps nowadays, if somebody goes into them, they'll fall over, they're not durable anymore. So, when Ryback went into him, the steps didn't fall over or anything, they were durable. So I wonder if that shows that WWE's watching our show right there. But we're gonna have, I'm not really sure about that. But, so Rollins targets the injured ribs of Ryback, and then Rollins ends up beating him with a pedigree and wins the match. I was fine with this. They needed to make Rollins look strong since he's facing Demon Kane at Hell in a Cell, so this was fine. Okay, so next was Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville versus Ken Barrett, Rusev, and Sheamus. And, I like the team up of Barrett, Rusev, and Sheamus. That's a pretty good team up right there. So is Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville. So you would think in theory this would be a good match. And it wasn't a bad match. I just don't know. Just kind of felt like it was thrown together. And it felt like it was a waste of time. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't really... When I was watching this match, it just kind of felt like this is just a waste of time. I don't know why. But the match wasn't bad. They get the heat on Neville for, like, the whole match. And then Cesaro gets the hot tag, and then Sheamus takes him down with a power slam. Then Ziggler goes off on Barrett, and then he hits a super kick on Barrett. Sheamus breaks it up. Cesaro big boots Sheamus, and then Rusev super kicks Cesaro. Neville hits an enziguri on Rusev. Neville dives on Rusev and Cesaro, and then Ziggler tries to roll up Barrett for the win, and then Barrett kicks out, and then Ziggler's in between the ropes, and Sheamus bro kicks him. And Barrett covers him for the win. So Barrett, Sheamus, and Rusev go over. And that was it. And I know they are going to announce... I already know they're going to announce this later on the show. But I'll just announce it now. They're going to do a match like this. Like this same match on the kickoff. That's going to take the place of Orton and Ambrose versus Harper and Strowman. Because I guess they have to put something there. So they just decided to do this match again. I thought that was kind of stupid. So that even made this more of a waste of time. We're just going to see this match again on the kickoff. So, I don't know. Maybe you could have done some promo or something to at least give this match some purpose. Because this match is just very thrown together and has no meaning to be on the show. But, yeah. The match wasn't bad. I just didn't really care about it. Ric Flair comes out. What was that? He just cuts this weird promos, a lot of woos and oh yeah, whoa! Then he'd say like WrestleMania and the D, oh yeah! It was so weird. I don't know what the hell was up with him. He must have been drunk or something, I don't know. But yeah, Ric Flair. But pretty much he says that he's excited about Dean tagging up with Roman Reigns, oh yeah! What are you talking about? So then Roman Reigns comes out. And Ric Flair, you see Roman Reigns laughing when Ric Flair goes, woo! Oh, yeah! You know what the problem is with Ric Flair nowadays, too, honestly, in all seriousness? Is he comes up so much that he doesn't really feel like he's still always going to be a legend because of that 16-time World Championships thing, but he doesn't really feel like a legend because he pops up so often nowadays. Woo! Oh, yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah! Anyhow, woo! Oh yeah. But Roman Reigns, before he can say anything, the Wyatt family thing goes off and they just teleport on outside the ring. But Luke Harper isn't there. But there's somebody else there, and it's Eric Rowan. Like, I was shocked about this. He just kind of returned. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. So Roman Reigns thanks Ric Flair, and then he brings in two chairs, and in the ring so that way him and Wyatt can have a conversation. And Roman Reigns says that if you don't start nothing, this won't be nothing. So then Bray Wyatt gets in the ring, and Roman Reigns talks about how Bray Wyatt's a bully. He plays on people's fear, but that hasn't worked with me because I don't have any fear. And then he says that he's afraid to face Roman Reigns alone because he surrounds himself with the Wyatt family. And he says that at Hell in a Cell, they're gonna be locked out, and you're gonna be locked in, and there's gonna be nowhere for you to go. And then Roman Reigns instantly pokes him, and then Wyatt tries to attack him. Reigns fights him off, and then Reigns hits Rowan and Strowman and Wyatt with the chair, and then the Wyatt starts to surround Roman Reigns, and then Dean Ambrose comes out there. So now it's going to be a handicap match. The match has been changed. It's now Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus the Wyatt family, excluding Luke Harper. So the Authority and Seth Rollins are talking backstage, and they don't think it's a good idea because it's going to jeopardize Roman Reigns' match at the pay-per-view with Bray Wyatt, and they want to save that main event. So they're talking about how they should possibly get a tag team partner. So Shawn Michaels comes up and says, why didn't you put the man in there, Seth Rollins? And Triple H says, well, he already had a match. He already had a match. And we don't want to have him wrestle twice in one night because that could possibly get him injured. So then Shawn Michaels says, oh, yeah, I get it. You want to protect him because he's like your child. And then Seth Rollins mans up and says, you know what? I already won my match tonight, so I'm going to go out there with 5 world-class athletes, and I'm going to wrestle that match, and I'm going to beat him again. So now it's changed. Now we're going to get a Shield reunion versus the Wyatt family. I thought that was awesome. And then when Seth Rollins walks away, Shawn Michaels he doesn't need to be so sensitive, so I thought this was great. This was great stuff. Even Ric Flair. I mean, the promo was weird, but you know what? It was so funny that it was good. Oh, yeah! We get Charlotte with Becky Lynch versus Brie Bella with Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox. If you watch a Charlotte match nowadays, you know how it goes. They dumb down her wrestling ability, and she doesn't do any other moves except the typical... I guess I have to say 3 moves of doom, because that's what she has nowadays. And Charlotte wins with the figure 8. Yeah. And then afterwards, Paige gets interviewed, and they say that Natalya was laid out on SmackDown, which I completely missed. I watched SmackDown too, the whole show. Maybe it was so shitty that that I forgot that I missed it. Maybe I fast forwarded through it because I was just done with the show. I have no clue what happened, but yeah, Charlotte, I guess Natalya was laid out, so everyone thinks it's Paige, but she says it wasn't her. That's it. Okay, so then we get Mark Henry versus Kevin Owens. Mark Henry got a nice hometown reaction here. And at least he got some offense in, because I knew he was going to get squashed, but he did get some offense in, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that he get to have a match in his hometown with some dignity. I was happy about that. Kevin Owens wins with the super kick and the pump-up powerbomb, which was impressive. So I thought Kevin Owens looked strong out here until, they can't just have Kevin Owens look strong. They have to make him look like a pussy. Ryback comes out. Now, Ryback doesn't sell the injury ribs that he got when he had his match with Seth Rollins earlier in the night. No. He just comes out there. He's not selling the ribs injury. And Kevin Owens is pretty much running away from a guy that should be injured, that already had a match. So then Mark Henry throws him in the ring, and then he hits Ryback powerbombs him, which technically should hurt his ribs. He shouldn't be able to do that because his ribs are injured, but, that made no sense. I like the match. I feel like they should have just excluded the Ryback attack, because it would have made Kevin Owens look strong if he had just walked out and looked like a boss, but, they can't have that. They have to make Kevin Owens look like a pussy. So then, Seth Rollins is backstage, and when he was backstage, there was like this one part of the room that was pink because they're promoting breast cancer, but I thought that looked goofy. And because obviously this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, CM Punk obviously said that this is a scam, which, I agree with that. It's just my opinion. But, this shouldn't really be an opinion. It's a fact, because if you think about it, they're selling, for example, Rollins, let's just say Rollins had a shirt that was pink. So Rollins has that shirt. you're pretty much paying probably $20. So WWE probably takes like a good chunk of money out of that, and then Susan G. Komen takes the same thing, and then it's not really going to the cause you want. It's not going to the breast cancer survivors. It's going to WWE and Susan G. Komen. Some of it's probably going to breast cancer survivors, but not a lot. So if WWE really cares about this, it's good that they're promoting it. But instead of just selling stuff, you take this pen right here. Take a pen and just write a check right down, right? Just write a check for like maybe like $1 million or something. Like the 1st of October. Just write a check of $1 million, and then that's it. You just write that check. Then that shows that they care. I understand, and then you can still promote it, but instead of just selling like a hat and stuff like that, that you're gonna take the merchandise out. Or you can just sell the merchandise and not take any out. It goes all to breast cancer. And maybe partner up with somebody else instead of Susan G. Komen. Partner up with a different cancer company. That would help. But anyhow, Seth Rollins, Renee Young asks him why, what it's like to have this one-night reunion with the Shield. And Rollins says that this isn't a reunion. And he says that he's just doing this just to prove he's the man. And he said that if Reigns and Ambrose thinks this is a reunion, then he's just going to destroy him again. This was fine. Okay, so now we have the main event. It's the Shield, and they don't come out together. They all come out separately. But it's the Shield versus the Wyatt family. Sorry about that. The Shield versus the Wyatt family. And immediately everyone starts chanting, "This is awesome," which it was awesome because it was nice. Even though they're not calling this a reunion, it was nice to see a Shield reunion. Before I talk about the match, I'm going to forget about this. But they say something about Luke Harper's disappearance because he wasn't on the show at all. And they say that might have something to do with what happened with Randy Orton. So that kind of, I guess, gives us some explanation there, I guess. I'm not really sure. I mean, if I was booking it... Okay, hold on. If I was booking it, I would have, maybe, on Raw, Harper appear with Randy Orton. And then, they just beat him down or something. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. But anyhow, the beginning, Reigns and Ambrose stand up to the Wyatts, but Rollins doesn't at first, and then eventually he does. Eventually he does. And Rollins is trying to be, the architect of the Shield, like he always says, so he's trying to get some control. And then when he sees that he has to face Eric Rowan, he tags in Reigns and has him face him. And then Dean Ambrose starts going off on him. Eventually, when Ambrose is doing fine, Rollins comes in and tries to pick up the pieces. But then Wyatt gets a move on, so Rollins rolls out of the ring. And then Ambrose, and Reigns are I thought you had this. And then, what happens? And then the Wyatts get the heat on Reigns, and then Ambrose tries to make a hard tag on Strowman, but since Strowman's like a beast, you can't... At least they like to say he's a beast, but he's really not a beast. But since he can't be knocked off his feet, it doesn't really go... It doesn't go very well. So then the Wyatts dominate Ambrose for a while, and then eventually when Ambrose is about to make a hard tag on... Because Strowman takes out Reigns, so Rollins is the only one he can tag. So Ambrose takes out Wyatt, and he goes to tag Rollins, but Rollins acts like his knees hurt, so he leaves the match, just abandons the Shield. And then Ambrose hits a rebound clothesline on Eric Rowan, and then Reigns gets the hard tag. He hits a Superman punch on Strowman, but he doesn't knock him off his feet because he's overpowered. He's worse than Zeus, which, by the way, he was in a commercial, like a vending machine commercial. So there you go. But anyhow, Reigns starts going off on Rowan, and then Strowman just gets in the ring, and he won't leave. He just gets in the ring. He's illegal, and he puts that choke in on Reigns. And then Ambrose gets a kendo stick and starts hitting Strowman with it, so the Wyatts end up winning by disqualification because you can't use weapons in matches. And then Strowman no-sells it, so he breaks the kendo stick, and then Ambrose pulls the rope down. And then Ambrose goes to do a dive on Strowman, but Strowman catches him and he just drops him. They say he slammed him, but that was not a slam. He just picked him up and just dropped him on the floor. Because he can't work. And then the Wyatt attack Ambrose, and then Reigns hits a sick dive on the Wyatts. He attacks Wyatt, and he spears Wyatt, which looked really weird because I think Eric Rowan was supposed to get in there and like catch the spear so Wyatt wouldn't take it. But I don't know what happened. I guess Eric Rowan didn't get in there in time, so then he ends up just spearing Eric Rowan as well, and then the show ends with the Shield Reigns and Ambrose looking strong. So that's really it there. I thought it was a good ended segment. So overall, I thought Raw was a pretty good show this week. If I had to rate the show, I rated a 6 out of 10. The only things I didn't care for were the Divas stuff, the stuff involved in the Divas division. Ryback, Kevin Owens looking like a pussy again, and I'm gonna get hate for this, but I didn't really care for that 6-man tag team match with Ziggler, Cesaro, Neville versus Rusev, Barrett, and Sheamus. I just didn't care about that. I just didn't care. One, we're going to see it again at the pay-per-view, and I just didn't care. The match was fine. I just really didn't care about it. And I thought it was a good show. I think the only reason it was a good show, however, and I'm not, they did do some good stuff on the main roster, with the main roster guys, was because you had the past stars like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, who else was on the show? Shawn Michaels, and, well, I guess Ric Flair, because he cut a great promo. Because he cut that weird promo. That's the only, because they had the part-timers, because they're obviously scared, because Monday Night Football is kicking their ass, so they have to get ratings back, and I guess the way they're going to do that is to bring back the part-timers. Enjoy it while you got it, because after Hell in a Cell WWE, there's going to be no Taker, there's going to be no Brock, no Austin, no Shawn Michaels, no Ric Flair. There won't be John Cena, because he's going to be taking time off. There won't be Randy Orton, because he's gone. You're going to have to stop building new stars. I hope they finally do it, but I have my doubts. But yeah, this was a good show. Everybody on Facebook and stuff like that saying this was like an amazing show. I don't think it was an amazing show, however. I think it was a good show. They did have some good matches in there. They did have some good, stuff with Reigns. Everyone's probably hating the fact that Reigns is starting to cut more promos because that's not what he's good at. Considering the fact that he's going to be the next John Cena, I think they have to have him do that. Because, how else is he going to get better at it if he doesn't keep doing it? If he keeps doing it, he'll get better. Because this week I thought was better than last week. Last week was pretty bad, but this week was pretty good. But anyhow, that's my review of Raw. Let me do my plugs. If you want to subscribe to Wrestling Fortune 44, you can subscribe right up there. You can subscribe by on the Talkinator channel down below. You can subscribe to James Hebert, where he makes custom Titan drawings of professional wrestlers and voiceovers. Wayman Youth Wrestling, where he's using WWE 2K16 to promote feuds, and then you can subscribe to my channel down below, and that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.